And I share my story because it's not one you typically hear. It's not a mythical bootstrap story. It's a story that reveals systems, by which I mean the policies and institutions that govern our lives, and how they determine life outcomes, often inequitably. It also reveals the healing and abundance possible when we recognize our interconnectedness. We choose solidarity with communities of color and other oppressed communities fighting for freedom. The possibility when we invest in and make equitable public systems that help us all thrive. And so we need to tell more of these stories, and we need to couch them in an honest, accurate understanding of history, precisely the history that some politicians have been attempting to censor, and learning about how that history shapes our present. We can move on to these lessons from histories, and I'm just going to share a snippet of it. At Race Forward, we heed the words of the Reverend Dr. William Barber, who says that we are in the midst of a third Reconstruction. The first Reconstruction was at the end of the Civil War, after slavery was abolished. There were collective gains from that first Reconstruction that still reverberate, like equal protection and natural-born citizenship. There was a backlash to this Reconstruction that led to the era of Jim Crow. That second Reconstruction that you see on the slide, this was the Civil Rights Movement, an era in which Black people fought for formal equality under the law, resulting in the Civil Rights Act, which I talked about earlier, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, all key pieces of legislation that not only helped people of color, but other historically oppressed groups. There was a backlash moment to this Reconstruction as well, in the form of mass incarceration and the privatization of public systems. And now we're at a third Reconstruction, approximately 60 years from the second and 120 years from the first, when ideas about equity, including racial equity, have finally arrived at our institutions. And this is a key piece to advancing a just multiracial democracy. We're here because of the movement for Black lives, which, after the murders of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and more in 2020, helped a critical mass of people in this country come to a greater understanding